Today on Drawbli,
we are discussing simple techniques to improve your art.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Abby.
And we are self-taught artists documenting our drawing adventures because art is better when shared with friends.
So click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And check out our drawing guidebook, linked below.
So Ben, this simple technique.
Or
multiple thereof. Lay it on me. What's the first one?
So I think the thing that I've been kind of working on the most right now and trying to improve the most is separating my lights and shadows, specifically on my portraits. I also did some environment paintings most recently, and that has also been really helpful in that area. I don't know what it is about it, but just by breaking things up, like right here in the beginning, as I've done with my painting, into one area that's light, one family that's shadow. Ever since I saw it in this Marco Bucci video, I've been using this technique, and it has been just incredibly helpful to think about these two different sections of my painting.
Are you doing that piece by piece as well with the eyes and the lips? Or is this now kind of more like you've got your canvas, it's basic shadow and light, and now you can go in and like sprinkle nice fun details on top?
Correct, yeah. I've done the light, I've done the shadow, and now I'm going in and, doing like other stuff now. So like painting some stuff for the eyes. I did a lot of experimenting with the eyes on this one, and they turn out okay, we'll call it. I think this portrait in general turns out okay, I'll call it. But I am really just happy with my repetition of using this practice of separating things into light and shadow. It is the number one thing that keeps my paintings from turning muddy.
I struggle with muddy paintings, so I'm taking notes because I definitely have a hard time keeping my paintings looking clean and clear. That's what I said when I first saw this finished piece was, wow, that looks so sharp and crisp. And that's something I would love to be able to do more. I tend to color things in like a child with a large crayon a lot of the time when I don't need to. Mm-hmm. Just, I guess, from habit, and it feels sometimes very satisfying. But judging by this, I should be a little more disciplined and try really hammering in the light and shadow differentiation.
Yeah, I think by understanding what makes a painting look muddy, you can really start to understand why this technique is so helpful. And that is because typically you have your light family and your shadow family. And if areas of your shadow family are starting to look brighter in value than areas of your light family, or vice versa, it starts to read as muddy. There are other ways it can read as muddy, like your brushwork and stuff can be kind of all over the place, but that is one of the main things that I think for beginners and, for us, something I've been working on, has been helping me a lot to get away from that.
Part of keeping this sharp too appears to be that you're using the selection tool quite a lot.
I was for the shapes of the shadow family, yeah. I like the selection tool. What can I say?
Do you have specific areas where you like to soften a hard edge?
Yeah. If the area of the face is flatter, there are a lot of different reasons why I might soften an edge or sharpen an edge. And I'm trying to get better at that. Edge control is something that I think is really difficult for me. But I do know how shadows work in general, how light works in general, from my work in 3D. So for instance, let's just talk about the Rembrandt triangle. Are you familiar? Mm-hmm. The triangle of the face under her shadowed side, under her eye, on our right, currently her left. That triangle is called the Rembrandt triangle. And because the nose is casting the shadow onto the face there, the shadow should be a little sharper. If the shadow that the nose was casting was maybe on the ground, like if the shadow is further away from the object, the shadow will be softer. It's just a distance thing there. And also the size of your light source can affect that as well.
That's very true.
So there are a lot of different reasons why you might choose sharper or softer shadows. Or edges, sorry. I'm trying to improve in that area.
So looking back at this piece, which parts of it are you the most pleased with?
I was actually really pleased with my initial sketch. I liked the sketch a lot, and I think I lost a lot of the things that I liked about the sketch as I continued to work on it. And it's such a hard thing to do, to keep that
The sketch's energy, yes, it
Yeah.
absolutely is. To go in and try to refine and paint on top of that, you very quickly lose the energy of like your little lines and flow.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the energy or flow because I don't have a ton of that. It was just I really liked the shapes that I had created in the sketch, in the drawing, and then I started to lose a lot of those.
I think that answers what would have been my next question is what would you like to most improve after working on this or from this sketch?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't incredibly happy with this. I really, as you can see, tried to focus on creating interesting shapes of light and of shadow. I would say in general just being more decisive because I flip-flop a lot on ideas where I'm like, no, that is too hard of an edge, or no, that's too soft there. And I end up kind of flip-flopping back and forth, similar to maybe how you might redraw something over and over and over again. I'll kind of flip-flop on shapes that I create on the face, like edges, where I'm like, oh, look at these shapes in the nose right now. There's a lot of cool kind of like blocky shapes going on there that create areas of light and shadow. But then I'll maybe like soften and blend them out and then like redo it again, and a lot of back and forth.
I really love your shading just on your eyeballs. Like your eyes look so well painted, and I love that.
Eyes are easy. Eyes are spheres.
Yeah, well, you just come to them very naturally. I still struggle to make them look the way I want them to a lot of the time, and I feel like that's something you kind of hit your mark on right away with a lot of your work, so good job.
Well, in sculpting, I painted a lot of eyes already, so I was I had a general sense of what was going on there. Plus, I understand like the three-dimensional form of an eyeball, the shape of the iris, the lens of the eye, and like why the reflection is where it is versus the shadowed portion. There's a lot of geometry going on in an eyeball that might be confusing unless you understand exactly how it works.
Isn't it interesting how you feel like you can know about a thing, but when you actually go to like draw it or render it out, you're like, I guess I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, drawing is essentially like the study of everything. There are so many different like subjects that you get to learn about. I mean, if you start drawing animals, it really like becomes anatomical. It becomes a lot of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here until the very end, I was like, maybe I should blend this shadow side of the face into the background and have it be a lost edge. I was like, that's kind of cool. And I was like, nah, it's way too strong, way too overdone.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I thought it was looking pretty cool there. I feel like your shadow and like background, they feel very like deeply saturated still to me. Which almost makes me wonder if it's competing a little bit with the light portion, but I love how this looks.
Yeah, I actually played around with, at one point in this, desaturating the light side of my face. It came and went pretty quickly, but I essentially just threw gray over top of my entire light side of my face to desaturate it a lot.
Interesting.
Because I wanted the shadows to be a lot more saturated.
Oh, that's a cool stylistic choice.
And if you want cool stylistic choices, click that like and subscribe button and check out our guidebook, How to Easily Draw, every day at the link below.
Share your work on Instagram with #Drawbli because drawing is better with friends.
And this is the part where we say
Goodbye.
Goomba.
I'm glad that we do not have saturation sliders on ourselves in real life.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Are you kidding me?
I don't
I
know.
would be bright blue all the time.
Exactly.
And that's a bad thing?
I think so.